You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to Cards to the Moon. This is episode 355, and my name is Clark from 5cardguys.com. You can also find me at 5cardguys on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I'm also on TikTok. Co-hosting with me is John. He's back, and he is at Trade You at Recess. And this time, Hyung's away, but I'm sure he'll be back soon. And one day, we'll have all three of us again back at the same time. But John, welcome back to the pod.
Thanks, man. Good to be back. I know, it's been a long time.
I know you're busy, but that's all good. As one of the original podcast members, you have special privileges of coming in and out whenever you want and can. So there you go.
Appreciate it, Clark.
All right, let's get right into it. Off the top, we got to talk about the big card that's currently up for auction at Fanatics Collect. It's the Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge dual gold Logoman autograph 1-of-1 card. And as of this recording, I just checked before we started recording, the bidding is at $1 million, and it's got about a week left in the auction. Now, for people who don't know, what makes this dual Logoman even more unique is that these gold Logoman patches, they came from both their respective jerseys that they wore in the 2025 season. And the reason they received those patches in particular is because they were the reigning MLB MVP winners in 2024. So I always like to ask this question when a big auction like this comes up, because it's just really a wild guess, and we've been known to be way off. But what do you think it ultimately sells for, right, when the auction is over? And I got one more quick follow-up question after we answer that. So it's at $1 million right now. John, what do you think it's going to go for?
Man, this is not a great question for us because we have absolutely no idea. I have to think it's not going to go over 2, but because I said that, I'm sure it will go over 2, but my guess would be like 185.
Okay. I think it's going to go over 2. I think it's going to go over 2 because just the way the hobby is going these days.
I know.
We just recently saw, the Pikachu Illustrator go for $16.5 million. That's crazy.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
So yeah, I think there's something in the air that people are going crazy over these big cards. Not people, like high-end investor types, high-end collectors that just need that next big card. It's almost like a drug for them, right? A little bit of clout. So I think it's going to go over 2 million, but we'll see. But the follow-up question is that I had is, I think I read this in an article, but some are thinking that this could be the baseball equivalent of a card like the one we see more often in basketball cards. For example, the MJ Kobe dual Logoman autograph card that, we talked about on the pod before because Kevin O'Leary just paid just under $13 million for it. So, John, do you think this card and Logomans in general for baseball might catch on? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it could. It is an auto, right? Is it dual gold Logoman?
Dual auto as well. Yep.
Right, on card.
Mm-hmm.
I would thankfully assume.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the first of its kind, right? Like of the gold logo. Like this is the first inaugural. Yeah, I mean,
yes.
I think it should be pretty big because I think everyone is now getting pretty comfortable and confident of who Aaron Judge is and will be. I think there were some question marks before, especially from me.
Mm-hmm.
But these dual Logomans, yes, it has. I get this is the inaugural and there's so much hype. So there's that you kind of have to caution with. But the long term, this is what big collectors want. These like super rare, top of the top echelon cards in each of the sports categories. So if there's there's the basketball, original basketball ones. And, if they made new with Flawless and with baseball, I think it'll be big. And really, I think Shohei is obviously this guy's
Hmm.
carrying. This guy's like controlling the market right now. It's unbelievable, but it really depends on the partner in the duel, right? Because you
Yeah,
go back in the day, you got Kobe Bryant and Gary Payton, and I know Gary Payton's a legend, but those cards obviously don't sell as much as like a Kobe Michael Jordan. So obviously the partner to
sure.
Shohei has to be pretty big, and if Aaron Judge ends up finishing his career
Mm.
as big as it's seemingly going right now, I think it'll be a pretty big card. But yeah, Ohtani X whoever else, the other
Yeah.
person has to be pretty big, and yeah, it's got some pretty good legs for sure. Come on, is it gonna hit like Jordan, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe levels? Probably not, because that's
Mm.
just a little bit too legendary. But who knows?
Yeah, no, I get your point. Especially, I'm with you too. Like, I was a Judge doubter, but now I'm fully on board, and I
Right,
think this is probably as safe as you can get in terms of dual logo man, with Otani and Judge both on the card. So, in terms of players that are on it, I think that's safe. Knock on wood.
right.
But I think there's still a question of whether logo man cards in general will fully catch on for baseball card collectors like it has for basketball card collectors. You know, the basketball card, the logo is iconic. And this idea of logo man cards in baseball is still relatively new or not done well in the past. So I think it's got a chance. But to your point, because there's that question mark, I don't know if we'll ever get eventually to like the 10, $15 million range,
Hmm.
like we're seeing right now for basketball logo man cards, right?
Right,
So
right.
uh, we'll see.
I will say I think because of the idea that it's a gold logo man from their
Mm,
MVP season, it's like very specific.
sure.
In a perfect world, if there was like a Shohei Aaron Judge, like record breaking home run duel, kind of like the Sammy Sosa Mark McGuire era, and it's from that specific season when they were like battling it out and they both
Yeah.
got MVPs. I think if there's a special circumstance, and because these logo mans aren't, like the original Flawless and Exquisite, it doesn't necessarily define what year that game used logo man came from, but
Right.
these logo mans are gold. They're from the MVP season, a specific season. So if all the stars line up and there is some sort of like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire kind of a season, I think
Mm,
that kind of scenario could make these, baseball, like the baseball gold logo man, go higher than anything we've seen
mm.
before. I think that would be the scenario to kind of cause it.
Excellent point. Yeah, that's very insightful, and I think you're right. Yeah. The only other concern would be then for other logo man cards, like the regular ones, not the gold ones. I wonder if that could be overdone, and kind of dilute logo man cards in general. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they, because I feel like I'm beginning to see it with basketball cards. Like the more recent, the more modern logo man cards are. You see the breakers going crazy over it, but at the same time, it's not worth the same as the old logo man cards when there wasn't, when it was actually rare, and like one of ones, and now it's like, oh, it's the same thing we talked about before. How many one of one logo man cards are out there now? And
Right.
and just in different kind of formats or different image variations. So I guess that's my only concern. But yeah, I think you're right. The gold logo man, just what it represents and what's the season it comes from. I'd love to see how it plays out in the next 5-10 years. Even I think that's something worth watching.
Right. I do. One last thing. I do love the fact that this little latest iteration of Tops, like the Logo Man or MLB debut patch, whichever one, the
Yep.
fact that it's very accessible, like it's from like a pretty normal product. It's not from a $10,000 flawless box that you can only dream of buying. And even if us, lowly peons ever even bought that box, I don't think we'd have the guts to even open it. So
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that this is kind of like the Willy Wonka gold ticket that you could win from, like it's very accessible, like the chance of winning is there. So
Yes.
I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to play Debbie Downer, but I think the more of these like really awesome cards are the chase on these sets. You start to see that creep of how much boxes go for. You know what I mean? So right now it
Yeah,
is.
that's true.
I think the first year, like for case in point, the first year's Topps Chrome update where they have the MLB debut patch introduced. I think those boxes are crazy now on resale. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like, or it might be. I guess it depends on the rookie class, of course,
Right.
right?
Right.
But like I think what Yamamoto's MLB debut patch. I think that was 24 the year after, but that hasn't been pulled yet, or we don't know publicly where it's been if it's
Right.
been found yet. But yeah, I think if you could get it off directly off the Topps website, that's I guess your play right now. But
Mm.
just like the Pokemon card market, good luck trying to get these high demand boxes.
Yeah.
You got to be in the queue and just be a little bit lucky. But
So true.
yes, um, don't get it off resale because you probably can't afford it. But if you could get it directly from Topps, that's probably your play. Or
Right.
I know you don't like this, but breakers, I think they're here to stay.
Yeah.
That might be your only way to have a chance to hit
Right.
these big cards, right? So
Yeah. Okay. I'll change my opinion to slightly more accessible than flawless.
this is a hobby we live in right now. But
I know. Oh man.
all right, let's move on to hobby headlines. Okay, I know we're halfway through March already, which is crazy to me because, time is flying very quickly. But I thought we could spend this time digging a little deeper into February stats that I got online about the hobby in general. And let's just comment on what we think these stats might mean for the hobby moving forward, if anything. All right, so I picked up three interesting stats to me anyway. First one, to date in 2026, we've already seen 7 cards sell for more than $1 million. All right. And there's going to be 3 more this month in March, including the dual Logoman we were just talking about off the top. So that's going to make 10 sales of at least $1 million cards or more in the first 3 months. You do the math. If that rate continues, we're looking at about 40 cards or so that will sell for $1 million or more by the end of 2026. That makes it on pace for the same as the record-breaking years we've had during COVID in 2021, when there were 43 such sales, and 2022, when there was 41. And then, of course, we saw a correction in 2023 with 11 sales, went all the way down to 11, down to 7 in 2024. That was probably the bottom. And then, you know what happened in 2025? Everything kind of jumped up again with 28 $1 million card sales or more. And here we are in 2026, projected to go for 40 again. So, John, your thoughts on this stat in particular? Do you think this hobby boom period that we're in right now feels different than the one we were in during COVID?
Man, that's a loaded question. I think.
Your
Well,
thoughts?
obviously, it feels different.
Yeah.
I think the COVID era, it was so crazy. Like everyone was getting back into it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty exciting. And at that time, I don't think we were all even aware of the magnitude of how much people were getting into it. We just kind of continually saw prices of cards going up. So you just knew like if you bought something, you're making money, and then card
Yeah.
shows finally opened up, you can kind of experience it, and it was all kind of brand new and all going up. So you were like making money and trades and wheeling dealing was super easy. It was a wild time.
Yeah.
Now it does feel because everyone from that period experienced the downturn
Mm,
and a lot of people left. A lot of like sneakerheads and people that are kind of in it for the quick flip. They kind of left, and now it's
yeah.
going back up. And obviously for those sort of I'll call them sneakerheads, but they're obviously not. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
quick flippers,
Yes.
people looking to make some quick money. They're kind of back in it. Same with the Pokemon market. So in some ways it's similar, but it does feel a lot more stable than
Mm,
before. Like before it was unknown and it was all exciting and it was going up and we just didn't I don't think we thought of the consequence of the long term in terms of
mm,
what we were spending our money on. But I think now a lot more people are into it. A lot more people are knowledgeable. We do see it more like an asset class than we did before as a collectible.
right.
So I think the money that's being spent is a little wiser. You know, maybe not in the $1 million sector. Like I was like, I can't
Yeah.
speak for them because I have no idea what's going on there. Why there's continually these psychotic $1 million sales, but
Yeah.
it does feel similar and different and different at the same time. It's hard to kind of
Yes.
articulate it, but you get what I mean.
No, totally. And I agree with you 100%. And it was slightly a leading question, I fully admit. But it does feel different in the sense, like exactly as you say, that, and I've mentioned this in previous podcast episodes, that the hobby now is in a healthier place because we have more savvy buyers and sellers, people, like you said, who are more educated in the hobby. But we do have, newer collectors, newer speculators, newer flippers coming into the space too, because they're seeing the money in it. So that's kind of like adding a bit of a premium to some of these cards. So we're seeing a bit of it, but not to the extent of what it was in 2022 and 2023, during the COVID era where everyone was flipping. Like I think the percentage of flippers to actual collectors, was much higher back then than it is now. My point is that flippers still exist in the hobby, and speculators do exist in the hobby right now as well. But the $1 million, those ultra high end cards, I think a lot of it can be attributed to institutional money and actually people that are coming into it and recognizing it as an asset class, like you were saying. So I think it's smarter money that's coming into the hobby as well. And it's creating this divide, and that's another episode altogether in terms of like what you would say the us peons or that want to collect these higher end cards. What's in it for us moving forward? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think it's different and same at the same time. And the same part for me is like the excitement of the hobby. I think in our last episode 2025, when we're interviewing all our co-hosts, we were all in agreement that it was kind of really fun again in 2025, just because it seems like a lot more action was taking place. Card shows were vibrant again, and we can't help but like want to buy more just because it's in a certain state right now, right? Which could be good or bad, but I had fun in 2025. I'm continuing to have fun in the hobby in 2026 to the same degree. So yeah, I think we'll see. 40, over under 40. What do you think by the end of 2026 in terms of $1 million card sales?
Oh man, I don't know because it's kind of defined. It's getting close to being defined as like an asset class or like treated as such. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it has to follow like real world economics. It has to follow real money.
Uh-huh.
And if like the economies in North America, like if we're not doing so well, I
Mm,
think the smart answer is I think they should be a little bit of a slowdown this year. So
yeah.
if I were to have to bet money on it, I would think it would be under. But I
Okay.
mean, the trajectory has still been going up. So yeah, I could be very wrong on that, but yeah.
You know why I think you're wrong? Because you're not using hobby logic. I think it's going to be over. It's just not going to make sense. The economy is going to tank, and yet
It's so
we're going to
true.
still pay big money for cards.
It's so true. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
we always say this: the hobby's recession proof. Okay, if you have lots of money, if you have a lot of crypto money, you're going to buy cards to diversify your asset portfolio. If the economy tanks, you know what? I'm depressed. I need to rip more cards. It's recession proof.
So true.
All right, let's talk about baseball cards specifically. Market Movers, which is Sports Card Investors app, they tracked, or the tool tracked, nearly 12,000 sales for Ohtani cards in February, which I think is an increase of 14% over last month. So
Crazy.
yeah, crazy. The Ohtani market is crazy, as we know, and we've discussed on the pod. It's still very hot. Uh, and honestly, I don't know if I'll ever get a nice Ohtani auto card at this point. Just the way things
Seriously.
are going, it's kind of like the Mario Pikachu for Roy. It just keeps going up. But if you look at the next two highest baseball card sales in February, it's not even close to Ohtani. You got Paul Skeens and Nick Kurtz, who sold just under 5,000 baseball cards each, according to, again, Market Movers. And you do the math, combined, it's still less than the number of Ohtani cards sold. So what I want to talk about is the Ohtani hype again on this podcast. Do you think it's ever going to end? Or if you had the money right now, would you just buy now and FOMO in?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really think there is like a big correction coming in Ohtani cards for the first time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We always talked about like seasonal corrections. Yeah, buying the off season, there's going to be a little bit of a dip. You can probably get Ohtani cards for like 20% discount on the dollar.
Yeah.
I think, when you and I and sort of like the average, I'm not going to say smart collector, but we'll say educated, fairly educated collector starts looking at the Ohtani market. In previous years, we're like, man, I missed out. Man, like Ohtani's so hot. Like, oh, he just hit 50 homers or 55 homers or whatever. And, stole this many 30, 40 bags. I can't remember what the stats were, but man, you thought I should have been into it. And there's a lot of FOMO and whatnot. But we're kind of at a stage where some of the prices are just not making sense anymore, right? Like Ohtani base Bowman batting is like, $1,500 or whatever it is right now, $2,500. Like when base cards start to get into money that you're just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like based on the pop count and like what is going on. I think when fairly educated collectors, wholeheartedly agree, like this is a little bit too crazy, that would mean that these collectors wouldn't spend their money on it. So who is spending the money on it, right? So at some point, I think there has to be a correction when the minds collectively are like, this is a little bit too crazy now. Like, what is going on, right?
Yeah.
And if everybody kind of stops their tracks and is like not spending money on Ohtani, then it's due for a correction. I think it just got it's a little too crazy. Like I'm understanding if the big cards are in the millions of dollars and the gold Logoman, totally understand. But when base cards are like topping $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, like that doesn't make any more sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either. I don't think it makes sense to Hyung, but I think Hyung, if he was here, he would argue that some of the autograph cards are still worth it. I might be putting words into his mouth, but while you're talking, I'm like, this is why I need John on the podcast more often to back me off the ledge of making a stupid mistake and buying a $10,000 card. And it's a good teaser for my pick one later on in the show. But it's like I got John on one shoulder saying like, you know what, it's gonna correct. You just be patient. And then Hyung's like, how many times have we said that? Like it's time to pull the trigger. So it's like, oh man, but the Ohtani market, like you can't help but feel FOMO, right? It's just
for sure
bonkers, and the numbers show it right now. Like it doesn't seem to be slowing down, but I hope you're right, John, because I really want to buy one. But again, at these prices, like I'm not there yet. I can't justify a purchase like that unless it's something I love and I will hold on to. And it's not, I'm not in, for Ohtani at least, it's not about flipping. It's too dangerous right now, to get into like a base refractor for $1,000 or $2,000 and thinking that'll continue to go up. I agree with you there. All right. One more for the segment. We got to check in on the latest grading numbers. And I'm going to just read out the data that I have in front of me. And then you tell me what sticks out to you, if anything. Okay. So PSA number one, not a surprise, 1.86 million cards graded total for February. 626,000 of those are sports cards. So still a million plus in the TCG realm. CGC number two, 451,000 total cards. 80,000 of those are sports cards. So again, fairly TCG heavy. BGS number three, 88,000 cards. 24,000 of those 88 is sports cards. Tag number four at 44,000 total cards. 4,000 are sports cards out of the 44,000. And SGC coming in the rear of the top five, 41,000 total cards. And this is interesting, 38,000 of those 41,000 are sports cards for SGC. So anything that sticks out to you right away from those numbers?
Yeah. Well, I know, I think, Clark, you and a lot of the hardcore listeners, they know I've been away for quite a while. I think it's been probably a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And admittedly, I haven't even been able to listen to the pod, our own pod.
It's okay.
Sorry, Clark. So I don't know if you guys have talked about grading, but since the last time I was on, I think
Mm.
we did talk about grading. So I will speak from my perspective, right? Because I haven't seen these numbers since like
Yep.
2 months ago or whatever. I think there's a bunch of things that pop out to me. I'm going to leave PSA and CGC aside. Like it is what it is.
Yep.
The delta or the difference between BGS and SGC, I don't know. There's a big gap since the last time we talked.
Mm.
I think it
Yep.
was a lot closer together, and
You're right.
SGC might have been slightly over BGS. I don't remember the order, but the
Yep.
fact that BGS is doubling SGC now, I don't know if it's BGS is doing better or SGC is just continually tanking. And I would think it's probably SGC continually tanking. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that kind of popped up to me. Number
Yeah.
two, great to see Tag on here. I personally love
Mm-hmm.
Tag. I haven't graded with them, and I plan on at some point having some of my PC collection because I do like the way Tag looks.
Me too.
But the fact that they're really creeping up there and really making noise means that their slabs at some point are going to start to gain, um, you know, be worth it in terms of actually
Yes.
using them to flip the cards or whatever you want to do. So when it gets to that point, I think we're going to really start using Tag. So good
Mm.
to see Tag there. I think that's the second thing that I'm really seeing. And the
Yep.
fact that 44,000 total cards graded by Tag and only 4,000 as sports cards. So they're really making a big run in
Mm.
TCG, which is like whoa, because I
Yep.
think when Tag first came out, they were kind of really positioned for sports cards, and to
Right.
see the TCG community really liking them.
Mm.
I don't know how much if you guys watch like Deep Pocket Monster or Short Pocket Monster. He's a really popular YouTuber slash like Instagrammer that he opens up
Yep.
packs daily.
Okay.
But perhaps he has a big influence. He's got like couple million followers, and
Mm.
he uses Tag a lot,
Mm.
and he features them a
It's
lot.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
He's a Pokemon card collector.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he opens packs daily. It's really catchy. He's got like I'm not going to sing the theme song, but if you know, you know.
Uh-huh.
And he does a lot of grading. So once he rips open the packs, if he gets good cards, he'll grade it. And a lot of times, obviously, they're really big cards. He'll go with PSA, but he's been using Tag a lot lately, and
Yeah.
he features them like how you can use the barcode and he's
Mm.
not. I'm pretty sure he's not sponsored. He's just out of the goodness of his own heart.
Yeah.
He's kind of showing why he likes it. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if he's got a big influence on some of these TCG numbers. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No. And I'll just add to that point. There's a lot of other TCG quote unquote influencers that are, cracking some cards and going right to Tag. So I think there's some kind of like movement building for Tag. And don't get me wrong, PSA is still dominant as number one because of the resale value. But I think there's a play. I agree with you. And I think there's a play for sports cards. I'm interested to see, like, if I searched on eBay after this podcast, Tag 10, RC auto, what comes up? And if the value, I wonder if there's a PSA 10 equivalent and the delta is huge. I don't know. I think that might be a good play. And who knows? There's only 4,000 out of the 44,000 that were sports cards, so there might not be a lot of inventory out there yet. But I love the look of Tag as well. I have a couple myself, and the process seemed pretty seamless. They do seem, and I could be wrong, but they do seem to have a little bit of a backlog too, just because everyone's grading these days, and Tag is no exception in terms of the volume that they're getting, right? But I agree. The BGS was the one stat that kind of stuck out to me, and to add to what you said about BGS numbers, there's some speculation that maybe PSA, being the new parent company of BGS of Beckett, might play a role in the boost in numbers. I don't know if they think PSA or Collectors Inc. will start to really revamp it, and people are more confident in the BGS brand all of a sudden. That could be a play. Interestingly enough, they also own SGC, and the way they're marketing SGC these days is as a boutique brand. And it's kind of like what we suggested, but it doesn't seem to be working well. Or I guess it depends on how you deem it successful. A boutique brand by nature will be smaller and cater to a very niche audience. So maybe that's the way they want to go. And we said like boutique in the sense of like just hyper focused on vintage in particular, right? I think that was our suggestion. But yeah, SGC is going by the wayside now. But it is, I think it's primed to just do vintage or just by looking at the numbers, it's 95% sports cards that SGC is grading, right? So I wouldn't even focus too much on TCG at that point. But for everyone else, that's the other thing I recognize. TCG market's still super hot in terms of grading cards. For all the top 4 graders, the majority of their cards being graded right now is TCG. So that seems to be ongoing over the last year or so, I think. And I know Roy, our friend Roy, fellow co-host of the pod, was disappointed that I think there's no bulk anymore for TCG. That era is over. It's come full circle into like being part of the regular grading submission prices for TCG, just because the volume is crazy. But yeah, I think that's. I don't know if there's anything else for you. BGS, TCG influence, and tag were my top 3 as well. Do you think SGC makes it? Are they done really, or do you think this is kind of?
Yeah, like a hot take or not hot take, maybe. I really think SGC is done. I think it's too little, too late. Like if they, I think the specializing in vintage from the beginning. I mean, crystal ball. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. Like they're wanting to make money. They're really like they were making money, and they're quick, and they changed their branding, and they're trying to like compete against PSA. So I get it. But at some point there, if they've really maneuvered and tried to either have a vintage department or something, or keep that alive, who would have? They wouldn't have known. They would have tanked like this. So it's easy to sit here as like an armchair quarterback and say something like that. But I really think at this point, if they were to make like a vintage department, I just think it's too little, too late. Like when you look at the HTC brand now, like the like I studied branding in school. Like I mean, for marketing and branding, like they've really kind of positioned themselves as the discount brand. And when you look at them and you look at slabs, there are like a lot of common cards in there, and like nobody's using them for big cards. Like they've really looked at it kind of like a discount brand. So at this point, even for vintage, because you kind of look at them as discount, like you probably wouldn't even use them. Even if you had like a sick old Mickey Mantle card, you're going to go to PSA, right? So I really think they're done. I think they're done. Yeah.
Wow. We'll see. That might be that could be a hot take because, but it makes sense, right? If they are truly considered a discount brand by a lot of collectors, then you need the volume to sustain yourself, and they don't have it right now. So it's kind of a double whammy in that sense.
And I think we mentioned, and I don't know if this is a great idea or not, but we mentioned this before. Like if SGC becomes like the BGS, what's the BGS like quick rating? What was that called again?
BCCG.
The BCCG, the when they quick rated at a show with a little like
like the rock or the GCR grading card review.
Thank you. Yeah. Like if SGC becomes something like that, where you can quick grade it for $25 without paying the like upgrade charges, and you can get it back quickly, and if it becomes an SGC 10, you can then pay the upcharge to get it into a PSA 10 slab. So the grading is the same, but you use it as like a stepping stone to like. I just want to know what it is, right? I don't want to pay $10,000 in upcharge. I think if they use SGC as kind of like one of those like BCG grading, like quick grading stepping stone to like a real PSA 10 slab, and you have to pay extra money there. I think we would do that. You and I, I think that's something that can work, and I don't know if that's going to save the brand, but maybe something like that could help.
Yeah, no, that's another great idea. I swear, if that happens, I know someone from PSA is listening to this podcast, because that's I don't think I've heard that idea before, but that might. I if I'm SGC, or if I'm in that department, I'm trying anything at this point. It's like you got to take big risks, where they are now, to just survive almost. So
Right.
I agree with you there. All right. You know what? Let's move on to our next segment because we're going to go over some other stats as well, but it's going to be under Quiz Show. All right. Like I said, a lot more interesting data from the February numbers that I didn't go over, but I can ask them now. Here's quiz questions. So first question, we did talk about the Ohtani card sales. They're up about 14%, but it's only number 2 on the list. All right, for February. And I should mention the cards on the top 5 list have a minimum 5,000 sales. So anything under didn't make the list. But of the cards that sold for at least 5,000 in number 1 is which NBA rookie that saw 39% growth over the last month? Could only be 2, really.
Right. I mean, I think it's got to be Khan, no?
Oh, not Cooper?
Not Cooper. I'm going to guess Khan.
You got it, Con Canipple. I thought that was a trick question, but you saw right through it. 39% growth. Was that surprising to you? I know I mentioned something you said in our chat that I brought up in our a recent podcast episode with Young, but you said something like Con Canipple's lucky to be in this era of basketball. Do you want to explain what you meant by that in terms of...
Did I mention that? Yeah,
I think in our chat. Yeah.
Oh, in our chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this era is different, right? Like, I think the young, all the players and young kids who are watching, they love, like Steph Curry has really, when they say change the game, he's changed the game. Like a 3-point shot. Anytime I go to if I watch kids at the playground when I pick up my kids, like these kids don't even know how to dribble and they're shooting. They don't even know how to shoot. They don't even know how to do layups. And all of these kids are just jacking like long range bombs. Like that's how they play basketball. It's like, what are you kids doing? You don't even know how to do a layup. So the game has really changed. So he's in an era where the 3-point shot, and especially long bomb 3-point shots, is super entertaining. That's why Caitlin Clark is in the mix, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So like for me, Khan, and I'm not trying to knock him, but he's like a modern day Mark Price. And this is like to highlight how great Mark Price was. Like that guy was a 3-point assassin. It's just happens to be Khan is in an era where the 3-point shot is like the gold standard of entertainment in basketball, right? Like dunking is kind of like in the rearview mirror, in the rearview mirror. So I think he's like Mark Price in this new era, and that's why there's so much crazy hype on him, right? So.
Good point.
Yeah, I think the hype, perhaps a lot of it is. I mean, a lot of it is justified. He's obviously like really showing out as a rookie.
Yeah,
and he's like breaking all sorts of like 3-point records. But I mean,
take away that part of the game.
Do you see him as like a Luka? Do you see him as like a Wemby? Like his prices are like on those levels, and I don't know. I don't see that. So the hype is a little bit too crazy.
I'm glad you went in depth in that, and that's well. If someone could tell me what the value of Mark Price cards are, you might want to tread carefully with Con Canipple if that's the comp John is using. So, rounding out the top 5 though is Wemby at number 3, 5% growth, and this is interesting. Number 4 and 5 are Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Both have 5% growth, so I guess people are starting to speculate a little bit more as the NFL season quickly approaches. All right, question number 2. Also with a minimum of 5,000 sales, according to Market Movers, which has seen the biggest decline in volume of sales in February. So we're going the other way at minus 21%. All right, I'm going to give you a multiple choice. Is it Shedeur Sanders, Drake May, Jackson Dart, or Dylan Harper?
Ooh, man, the football question's tough. I haven't been following outside of some of the playoffs. I think I recall seeing Jackson Dart not playing so well, and I think I remember seeing posts about him really struggling and the hype kind of dying down. So my guess is going to be Jackson Dart.
It's a good guess, but it is Drake May, minus 21%. And I think that's more of that he was so high, and obviously the Super Bowl run, that probably inflated the number of sales during that period. And then, unfortunately for New England Patriots fans, he had a dud of a game in the Super Bowl. And now we see the repercussions, so to speak. So, Drake May, on the flip side, might be a good time to buy now. You're not buying at the peak. So if you're a believer, yeah, go search on eBay. All right, one more question for you. The top sports card sales in February, we talked about 7 of them selling over for more than $1 million. But the top 5, 3 of them are vintage cards, not surprisingly, and 2 are more modern, relatively speaking, basketball cards. All right, so you don't need to guess the specific card which sold for over $1 million in the top 5 during February, but can you guess the players whose cards sold for over $1 million? So 3 vintage and 2 basketball. And I'm going to say this, 2 of the 3 vintage is the same card. That's a clue.
Oh, okay. Is one of them, I think I remember seeing a Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is one of them. The 1933 Gaudi autographed PSA 4.5 with the Auto 8 sold for $1.46 million.
Right.
Number 4, yeah.
My next guess, I think I remember seeing Honus Wagner, but I don't recall if I saw hearing news about 2 of them selling, or maybe they did. I mean, it has to be Wagner, or it's got to be Mickey Mantle 52. So
your first guess was right on. Honus Wagner, number 1. I think it's the Golden Auction.
You guessed for me. Thank you.
I'm being generous today. Then the PSA 1 Shields from the Shields family, that Golden heavily marketed.
Yeah, I saw that episode. Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
5.1 million it sold for.
Wow.
And actually, Ken Golden, I think I shared with you guys on the chat. He when I put up a reel, Ken Golden commented on that reel saying he'd be disappointed if it's under 5 million or something, 4 million. So there you go, 5.1 million. He got his wish. And there was another Honus Wagner SGC Authentic that sold for 3.6 million. So you got the vintage. Now there's 2 basketball players remaining.
Right. You know what's crazy is like, maybe I'm gonna get too conspiracy theory about this, because I know some people talk about it, right? Like cards that are so publicly, especially Golden, right? Like that are so publicly marketed or featured. Like the Shields, Honus Wagner, that was a part of the TV show, and then you got like Logan Paul's Illustrator. Yeah, like those are. They're like in in pop culture. Like that's how big. It's not even marketing. It's like now beyond sports cards.
Right.
Like there is so much room for manipulation. Like there's like Golden could buy it themselves just to make it look like Golden is awesome and they sell everything above comps at millions of dollars. Like, I don't know. There's just something about it that seems a little like, I don't know, but I'll leave it at that.
Conspiracy.
I'm not gonna yeah, but it's just so ripe for manipulation.
Yeah, true.
and we don't know that high-end market enough to say, oh, this is like, that's proper pricing, or that's what it should have gone for, or whatever, right? So anyways,
you think Scaramucci, the guy who ended up buying the Pikachu Illustrator, who was there in attendance, was just a plant?
Or it could be. Like it's just like all of it seems so wild to me, Like I don't know.
Man,
I don't know.
Hilarious.
Anyways. Yeah.
All right. There should be like a documentary. You should make a documentary. It's like what's behind the curtains of the high-end market. What's really going on there? All right. So you got 1, 2, and 4 out of the top 5. So you're missing 3 and 5. I feel
Which
like
are the modern,
more modern basketball cards. I think if you make an educated guess, you could go for the sweep here. Which players?
Oh man, this is tough. What the heck sold for $1 million? Was there a Kobe Jordan dual auto that sold?
No.
Oof, I'm in trouble.
But you know what? I'm gonna give it to you because the number 3 was Jordan. There's the 1997 Ultra Masterpiece 1 of 1 PSA 8 that sold for $2.1 million.
Right.
And number 5 was Kobe. So you kind of got it. It's his 2014-15 Panini National Treasures Logoman number to 2. BGS 9.5 auto 10 sold for 1.1 million.
Wow. Okay.
That's your top 5 for February. Good job on the quiz show. With an assist from me. But
Multiple assists.
but we're a team, so it's all good. But yeah, it's just crazy where the hobby is now. I think I feel like I'm saying this every week these days. But yeah, let's finish off the episode with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. All right. It's been a while since you did Pick One. Do you have one for us this week?
I do.
Okay.
So I mean, since I've been away, I'm gonna assume you guys didn't really talk about hockey too much. So I will give
Macklin,
hockey some love.
Celebrini. That's it.
I know.
Yeah. But go
So
ahead.
I will give hockey some love.
Okay.
Obviously, Celebrini is like it's on fire.
Stud.
So I'm gonna say, and the question is kind of loaded. It's not as like pick this card or that. It's not really about the card.
Mhm.
It's more about the hype, right? So I'm gonna go Celebrini Young Guns. I know the pop is low because it's all getting submitted right now and all of that stuff. But the last one sold for like, I think they go for like 1,800, and we can imagine that's gonna come
Wow.
down off
Yep.
of the high. Versus Nathan McKinnon. His Young Guns is kind of floating between like 1,200 to 1,400, and I think actually this 1v1 was featured on Instagram by Card Ladder or something like that. Like I've seen it,
Okay.
and it caught my attention, so I wanted to kind of bring it to our listeners.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go those two. Maybe not focus. Like my thought process, just like a little teaser,
Mhm.
is more on like the hype of Celebrini versus somebody who's like established, like Nathan McKinnon.
That's a good one. Yeah, if it's more general, like I would imagine too, the pop counts would be higher for Celebrini versus McKinnon.
For sure.
So that's kind of a consideration for me. But McKinnon, like, is he? Do I put him in the category of like a Hall of Famer? What is for hockey? But just no hobby love. Do I put him in that category? Is he the Mookie Betts of hockey? It's
Right,
like,
right.
He's got the accolades, championships, right?
Yeah.
Scores goals, but like you look at his price, you're like, this should be double the price. So is it stuck there? And if I'm collecting it, am I doing it as a PC, or if I'm looking as an investor, like is that? And on the other hand, Celebrini, like you were saying, hype. Really hot right now. Had a great run in the Olympics. But he is smaller. I don't know. I don't know if that size will mean that he can play for over a long period of time. We've seen what happened to Connor Bedard. I'm not giving up on Bedard yet, but we've seen his market go sky high and then drop back down. I wonder if that's kind of similar to Celebrini as well. And if I'm factoring in my Canadian bias, right? So like Team Canada, I know McKinnon's Canadian as well, but everyone's like rooting hard for Celebrini, just what he was doing at 18, 19 years old. So all that said, I'm just talking to myself out loud. I think I'm just gonna go with McKinnon. I think I'm gonna play it safe in this case.
Right.
Yeah. I think at some point, and maybe I'm dreaming the same way I'm dreaming about Mookie Betts getting more respect in the hobby. Nathan McKinnon one day will get the respect he properly deserves. So
Right.
I'm going with McKinnon.
Good choice. I do think that's like the when you just add face value, right? Obviously, Celebrini, this is like early, super stupid hype almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think the smart answer if you're like investing money right now, present day, like it's probably McKinnon. He is like an A++ superstar, like a notch below generational. So if you think of like for some of us old heads, like generational is like Gretzky, Lemieux, um, going back like Bobby Orr, Sidney Crosby. Then you got like Steve Yzerman,
Right.
that's like McKinnon. He's on that superstar becoming a legend, but he just will never kind of like push up to that sort of McDavid
Yeah.
category. So for me in this question, I start to think about like really, really big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mookie Betts was like a name that popped up. So great that you mentioned it. I think hobby logic, there's a thing that is like the hobby darling. We talk about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Hobby darling. And I think Celebrini is he's coming in at a time where people were a little bit starved for hockey. Bedard kind of really blew up because people were just looking for, especially future watch autos, kind of making coming back finally,
Yeah.
and they were just dying for some kind of superstar. And Bedard was it, and he didn't explode as much as people thought he would.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Celebrini, who didn't come out like Bedard did in terms of crazy hype, but he's really developing into like he's to me he's I mean, for hockey players, for hockey guys, I don't think this is like a hot take, but like
Mm-hmm.
Celebrini has a chance to win a Stanley Cup before McDavid. Like it's in
Wow.
the
Yeah.
realm of
That's crazy.
possibility because the reason why Celebrini, when you watch him play hockey, why people like him so much,
Mm-hmm.
is he's not necessarily the most. He's got a pretty good shot actually, but it's not the most amazing shot. He doesn't have like the craziest deeks. He's not like the fastest skater. He's not like McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch him play, he just knows how to win games. Like he's like a 35-year-old vet in a 19-year-old body. Like he just knows that. And that's, I mean, that's the exact reason why he got picked for Team Canada. That's the exact reason why he is playing
Mm.
big minutes with 2 minutes left in the game. Like he's on the ice, like this 19-year-old
Right.
kid, because he knows how to like, he just knows how to play the game the right way.
Yeah.
And that's why coaches in the NHL love him. So I think he's here to stay, man. I think he's going to be like, knocking on the roof of like generational. Like he's on that
Ooh.
kind of stratosphere. Like he really is, man. When I watch him play, now obviously injuries and stuff will play a factor. You said he's kind of small. It's possible, but I think because he is kind of quickly developing into a hobby darling, not just in the hockey world, like in the hobby, right?
Mm.
And hobby darlings always have a place. They can go on a lull, which they will,
Yeah.
but in the future, if he continues, he can have spikes, ebbs and flows, like real good ebbs and flows, kind
Mm.
of like Acuna, right? Like
Right.
Acuna
Sure.
has ebbs and flows because he was such a Harvey Darling back in
Good comp.
2018, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Mookie Betts, he wasn't a part of that like COVID rush. He's like from back in the day,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be. I think sad to say, but because he's not really a hobby darling, he's just gonna have like a really solid career, and I don't think there's going to be like crazy ebbs and flows with him, right?
Mm.
Mike Trout, I think he has way better chance of having crazy ebbs and flows than Mookie Betts,
Yeah.
even though they're on the same sort of like Hall of Fame trajectory,
Right.
because Trout was a hobby darling at the rise of of COVID. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I put Celebrini. I don't. I'm not telling people to go buy the young guns now. It's a little bit too crazy of a hype.
Mm-hmm.
But long term, Celebrini or Nathan McKinnon, I think Celebrini's in that hobby darling conversation, and he's got a chance to really, go up and down throughout his career in terms of the hobby. So yeah, Celebrini's the pick for me.
Wow. High praise from John, and John doesn't
Yeah,
dish out high praise often. You know, he put a tamper on my Bedard hype back in the day. I'm like, yeah, Bob Bedard. He's like, yeah, I don't know. You know, it's like,
yeah.
so you know what? I changed my answer too. I'm Celebrini all the way. I'm all in. So, that was well said, very convincing.
Right,
So yeah, Celebrini. Wow. Okay. I remember, now you talk about Celebrini, I feel like remember when Hyung won that prize at the expo? I feel like
right.
Celebrini auto was on it. I can't remember if
It
it was or
was. Yeah, the
oh
Celebrini auto was
shoot,
there. I know.
Hyung, you should have kept it, dude.
I
I
know.
think you sold it. So now that Celebrini auto was on it, it's probably doubled in value.
Seriously.
That's a good one. I like it. I'm gonna look on eBay now. It's nice Celebrini cards.
Don't do it, man.
Young Guns. I bought
I'm
one
not telling you to
already.
buy.
Just I did it. Going up all the way. All right. So, well, speaking of going up, can't help but talk about Ohtani again.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I'm doing this to make a kind of a point. For under 10K, what kind of like around 10K, just under 10K, what kind of Ohtani cards can you get for a PSA 10 graded? Okay. I filtered it out for this past month. I know we're halfway through. Only 2 cards popped up, okay, for PSA 10 for under 10,000 Ohtani cards, and this is what you can get. And I wanted to see which one you would rather have. Okay, first one is the 2019 Bowman's Best, and it's an auto franchise favorites card, so it's kind of a subset, but it is an on-card auto, PSA 10, like I said, and it's not numbered, but it is 2019 Bowman's Best and this franchise favorites subset. All right, that's what you can get for
Not auto. I mean,
no, it is auto,
not numbered. Not numbered. Sorry,
not numbered. Yes, not numbered.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you get his rookie card actually, 2018, but it's a Donruss Optic rated rookie, so non-licensed PSA 10, and also not numbered. And that's sold for 9,540. So you're looking at both around the 9,500 mark right now.
Wait, the Donruss is autoed. Sorry.
Yes, it's autographed. Yeah, on card as well.
Oh man, this is ugly.
But if you had 10K, this is what you're looking at if you want a PSA 10 Ohtani card right now.
And the Bowman's Best is 2019, not
Yes,
rookie,
non-rookie
second year.
year. Yeah.
Holy cow!
So licensed non-rookie subset or rookie non-licensed auto.
I'm gonna pick option number 3, which is non-rookie year, real one autos Ohtani PSA 10. I don't know if that's under 10 grand, but
no.
just joking aside, man. Between these two, man, it's crazy. I think there's such a great argument for the rookie card, even if it is non-licensed. You know, I talked to I was in Whistler the couple of weeks ago on vacation, and I met my wife's coworker, and he was just getting into sports cards, and I was talking about, I'm on this, like, I once in a while co-host this podcast. He's like, what are you talking about? And so obviously, you know, figuring out that we both like cards, and he's pretty new to it. And he actually might be listening, but he's pretty new to it. And I remember like getting his thoughts on the hobby and stuff like that. And he's really collecting McDavid. And his thoughts was like rookie card all the way. Don't even talk to me about second year. Don't talk to me about, you know, like this awesome looking, the cup patch auto McDavid. Like, I'm going rookie cards, right? So I'm wondering if a lot of the sort of newer ish collectors that are in the hobby right now are like the same thing. And clearly they are, because the Donruss Optic, you know, unlicensed, the hobby really turned on those non-licensed, and obviously it's selling for 10,000. So there is something there. But me personally, I used to have some love for the license, but even if it's a rookie card, man, I'm gonna have to assume the Bowman's Best card looks pretty decent.
Yeah, he's followed through his bat swing. Yeah, looking at as if he had
probably like a refractor-ish kind of color, right? Because it's like a subset.
Yep.
And it's the older auto, right? The squiggly line, not the one that looks like a C.
Yep. They're both the older autos, the rookie auto.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna go with the Bowman's Best. I like the fact that it's rookie, and I agree that rookie a lot of times trumps, but I don't trust the hobby. I think the Ohtani market is including everybody right now, including newbies that are collecting. Like, it's just everybody's in on it, and there's a lot of people, you know, like my wife's coworker, that are just like, oh, rookie cards out the way. And I think once everybody kind of catches up on their knowledge and education, they may not be as much into it unlicensed. So I'm gonna safely go with the Bowman's Best. That's my pick.
Okay, wow. You kind of said everything out loud that I was thinking in my head, the going back and forth for all those reasons, right? And I think if you actually saw the image of the car, I know you can't see it now, but there's something about, like, I like the rated rookie brand. You know, that's iconic for us that grew up in the junk wax era.
Love it.
So there's that. But when you look at the card, you know, it looks like he's waiting for the pitch. He's in the batting box, but then it's so glaring. The helmet is just red. There's nothing on it.
Right.
You know, it's like the jersey's so red with nothing on. It's just like I can't ignore it. It's a personal preference, I guess, at this point. And the fact that the 2019 still has the original autograph that he used when he came into the league, that's a plus So I think just for those two factors alone, it edges the rookie. But I'm like your wife's coworker's friend. Rookie is my number one. But yes, once you're more educated, the nuances of like which rookie cards you actually want to keep, those factors do come in play. So right. It is a 2019 sweep. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the clear like when you look at Bowman's first rookie autos, like if Bowman's first didn't have the license and they were just like grayed out jerseys, I don't think they would be grails, man. Like that's
right.
Yeah, like Bowman's first is only a thing to me. It caught on and it's a thing because they have the licensing, so it looks like they're in the MLB jerseys. That's a big part of it.
It helps. All right, another great show. Good to see you, John, and we need more hockey. We need you back so we can get more hockey and
I'll do my best.
Exactly for the reason, because I need more hockey in my collection too, and I can't believe I don't have that many living in Canada, but it's true. Anyway, we'll have a brand new episode for you guys next week. Actually, I'm going on a little vacation, so there will be some special episodes coming up you can look forward to in the next couple weeks. Talk to you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.